So a big question that I see asked is angled grips, hand stops, or vertical foregrips. Well, I think a lot of it comes down to personal preference. But in this video, I'd like to talk about some of the benefits that I found using some of these different things on some of my different rifles. So to start, I'd like to show all the different grips that I have on my rifles. Starting with the Scar 17, I have a BCM grip angled forward. You're going to see a trend on a lot of my rifles. If I have a vertical grip that is not straight, but it is a angled vertical grip, I always have them angled forwards, AK style. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. This AR pistol has a BCM CAG. These are for key mod only. This SOP mod Block 2 has a Tango down grip, which is clone correct. It's a very standard vertical grip. It has an interesting way of locking into a pick rail. This is the short one. They also have a longer one. This BCM AR pistol has a traditional Magpul AFG. This is one of the original angled grips. This SOP mod 1.5 clone has a old Knights Armament, very long vertical foregrip. I don't even utilize the whole grip since I have a high bore grip, so there's a lot of extra down here I don't even need to use, but that's just what that is. My BCM 13-7, this is my oldest rifle here, has a BCM grip also angled forwards. I then also have a BCM grip just like the one on my BCM I just showed, a chopped BCM grip, another BCM grip, and then the CQBR has one of the old generation Magpul AFGs on this particular pistol as well. And this is an AR pistol, not an SBR. Well, my favorite thing to run on a rifle is a vertical foregrip, a shorty vertical foregrip. On an AR pistol, since this is not an SBR and this is not registered as an AOW, you cannot run a vertical foregrip on that weapon according to the BATFE. You have to run an angled foregrip or a hand stop. This is allowed by the ATF, and this allows me to still pull the weapon into my body, and that's something I'm going to demonstrate in a little bit. So I run AFGs or CAG grips like on this BCM pistol because these are allowed by the ATF, but I cannot run a vertical foregrip unless I register these as SBRs or AOWs. So that's something you need to remember if you're building rifles under 16 inches, under a 14.5 that just has a brace that is not a rifle, not an SBR. This is a BCM key mod grip and it's angled forward AK style. Now the reason I like a grip like this is I like digging my hand into it. And this comes down to personal preference. I don't believe that this is much more effective than a regular straight grip like the Tango down or like the Knights Armament. But I like being able to dig my hand into it. I have my grip positioned halfway along the rifle. I don't do a full arm extension. I like having a break in my elbow. The other reason I like having a vertical foregrip, there's two reasons. The first is recoil management. I can pull the rifle into my body and I'm not just holding the rail like so and the rifle is sloppy in my shoulder. I like being able to pull the weapon into my body, and by having a right angle on the rail, whether it's an angled foregrip, a vertical foregrip, a hand stop, a potato grip, whatever it happens to be, I can pull that weapon into my body and I can control the recoil much more effectively. Another reason to have a vertical foregrip that I found that I really like is if I'm running a laser light system, I can pivot off of the vertical foregrip to access my buttons. So you see here on the Surefire dual pad, I have white light in the front, I have IR laser or IR device in the rear. In my normal grip, I can come back and hit my white light very easily. But to hit my laser, I have to pivot lower on my vertical grip to hit the laser module button, just like that. And so that's something that helps a lot with having a vertical foregrip you can pivot off of as you retreat your hand to get to the buttons. If you run your buttons up here on the top rail, which I like because then it's ambidextrous if I have to switch sides. You see, I just pivot along the grip like so. That works very well for me. This is my favorite setup. Works very well for me for running lasers, lights, and also for controlling recoil. So the most traditional vertical foregrip here is this Knights Armament, and these have been issued for a long time on rifles in the SOP mod series, and this is a very long traditional one, so you can get a full grip on it like so. And the problem with getting a full grip on a vertical foregrip like this is you don't have a lot of stability to the gun. The gun can wobble a whole lot. Now there is one benefit to having this, and that is running a high bore grip on a rifle for a long period of time can fatigue you. Your muscles are a lot more tense in your shoulder, and that can fatigue you. But coming down to here is just a little bit easier. So some guys will do both depending on what they're doing, like if they're room clearing for hours and hours and hours on end, and they can transition down here to a full grip. I personally don't like these, but you know, it all comes down to personal preference, what you need to do. So this is the most traditional one here. The next would be the Tango Down grip. And this is a shorty. They make one that's even longer, but just like all my other grips, I have a high bore grip like so. I'm not gripping the grip like a traditional grip. I'm rolling my thumb up onto the rail. And this allows me to access my buttons like the Surefire pressure pad, allows me to control that bore a lot better and drive that gun a lot more smoothly and efficiently. So something I do with the Magpul AFG, and this all comes down to personal preference. Some people, everyone holds theirs a little bit differently. But I like wrapping my forward finger along the front part here. And what that does is that gives me a solid reference point. I'm not going to over grab, overextend. It also allows me to drive this grip into my body a little bit better, like you saw in the video earlier, where I'm controlling recoil by pulling the gun into my shoulder. So it's something you can do with an AFG. An AFG, some of the angle grips I've seen out there that kind of swoop backwards, if you pull tight, your hand can kind of slip off of them. And that's why I like the AFG, because I can actually grab from the front with my index finger and prevent that from happening with the weapon. So it's something to think about when you're getting a angled foregrip, is seeing if there's kind of that slide hazard where your hand can actually slide off due to recoil, due to maybe coming into a barricade or something like that. Make sure you can actually grip onto it so that you can be in full control of your weapon.